Hey guys, what's up? Hope everyone's having a superb day whenever you watch this, but that kind of doesn't really make any sense because you could watch this whenever, and you may already had a good day or not. But I hope you had a good day, regardless. And if you're watching this in the evening, superb. If you're watching this in the morning whilst you're doing cardio, again, superb. So I just wanted to come on here and just chat about like contest prep and just some things that you may not be aware of throughout a contest prep or a contest season. So first off, let's take someone who trains pretty hard and is consistent, let's say 75% of the time, and they want to transition into a contest prep. Fantastic. Now, there's a few things that we need to make sure that are almost already sort of ingrained. Number one, being 75% consistent going into a prep, I think will cause issues, personally. I think for a successful prep to take place and for you to get through and actually be in a position where you're looked at on stage rather than just put to the side, i.e., will you want to get a first call out? I mean, if you don't get a first call out at your show, I mean, of course, not everyone's going to get first call out because competitors are really good these days, to be fair. But like the goal was always going to be first call out. So if we want to get a first call out, we need to make sure that number one, in the off season, we're consistent as fuck. Like if we're not consistent, then is that really going to transfer into our prep? Probably not. Like, let's take all my clients who've competed this year so far. So all clients that I've had all preps with, so Henry, Sean, Ismail, now they've all looked exceptional at the shows they've done because because they've been consistent the whole prep and off season. So it's not just been like, okay, so we're in comp prep now, so now we'll start being consistent. It's no, as soon as we start any sort of training, and the end goal is going to be obviously bodybuilding, you need to be consistent from day one. So off season starts in, let's say, for example, let's take me for example. So off season started in August 2018 last year. So that was when I did my last show. So off season was then, and just because I'm not in season, I'm not like in shape, I'm not shredded right now, doesn't mean that I'm not being 150% consistent every day. You know, with my nutrition, with my training, with my sleep, with my hydration, with my stress. All of these things need to be managed in an off-season phase to take into a prep for the prep to be successful. So if you're not consistent in your off-season, you can't really expect to have a good prep, I think, because number one, the off season is where you're going to make progress anyway. So if you can't, like I said, be consistent in off season phase, number one, I don't think you have any right really to be looking at an actual competition prep where you're going to have to be 100% consistent every day. Now, if you don't want to be 100% consistent every day, you will look subpar. Okay, it's a fact. It just is what it is, and it's a bit of a brutal thing to say. But if you half-arse it, you're going to look half-arsed. And like this is the thing as well that kind of sometimes is frustrating for other coaches that I see is like sometimes as a coach so like I coach obviously people who compete and I coach people who don't compete, so it doesn't really matter, but what you'd expect from someone who's definitely like on par with a competition prep is 100% consistency throughout every single day of a prep. Now if you do that and you have a good coach and they actually know what they're doing rather than just wanting to feel like fuck you up, like most people these days just don't really have a clue. But if you have a good coach who actually cares and actually wants you to come get through the prep and actually get some good results and look really, really good on stage, that requires 150% from the client. Okay, so I can give anyone the tools. I can give them, the macros to hit, the training to do, the cardio to do, the steps to do. I can give them that, but unless they do it, you're not really going to get anywhere. And this is a gripe I have with some clients, or not my clients, but other people I see blaming their coach. This is why I put up the posts sometimes like, oh, I didn't do any of my cardio, didn't train, didn't hit my macros, but it must be my coach's fault. Because people are legit in that kind of mindset. They're like, oh, well, I didn't actually do any of the work, so it must be my coach's fault, which is a load of shit. So if you're going into a prep, you need to first off establish 150% consistency in an off season. Can't be consistent in an off season when calories are high and you don't love training and training's not the best part of your day. Do not even think about dieting for a show. Don't even think about it because you will not get through it. Okay. Now, everyone I prep loves fucking bodybuilding. They love competing. They love dieting. They love, men's physique, bikini, figure, bodybuilding. They love it. They love the day. They love the process, which means that the goal is good and big enough for them to stick to a competition prep. So if it's not good enough, what's going to happen? A lack of adherence, most likely. Potentially some missed training sessions. Potentially some, you over consuming your macros, which is what it's not going to lead to the result, i.e., in shape for a show. So one of the things that you need to establish before you even think about competing or going into a prep is, can I be consistent in an off-season phase first and foremost? Can I actually hit my macros for 6 months and train progressively, overload and train really hard and like prioritize my sleep, my stress? Can I do that before even being in a deficit? Because when you're in a deficit, it's a whole different game. When you're tired, you are hungry and you are fatigued. You have to love it. You have to wanna be kind of in that kind of moment. You have to be obsessed with the challenge of getting on stage and that kind of goal, which is such a fun thing. Like for me, I absolutely love it. Like I can't even tell you how much I'm excited to sort of diet next year, because like I love the off season in a sense of I love my training. I love my training in a prep as well, but I love the off season because I'm getting strong and I'm training really hard and I have all the energy to do it. But I hate the food. The food in the off season is just fucking bullshit for me. But I'm still doing it though. There's a difference. Like I'm like, as much as I hate it, I'm still doing it. I'm still getting it done, regardless of how hungry I am, which is not at all. Every meal I eat is, force fed. But again, I love bodybuilding and I want to make sure that if I'm consistent in the off season phase, it will transfer into a prep nicely. So that's number one. Consistency in an off season first when your calories are high. Yeah, you get that down, nail it for 6 months to a year, 2 years before you even think about prepping. You can't do that, go back to square one, which is let's nail an off-season phase first with calories high. Because when you're in a deficit, you're high, you're tired, you're hungry, it's going to be a whole different ball game, trust me. Because I've been there, I know what it's like. So I can understand exactly how it feels to be in it, which is, I think, is important. That's why you see a lot of prep coaches who have never actually dieted. It's like what? It's like, you actually haven't dieted though. Oh, but I'm gonna prep you, but you don't know what it's like though. How can you relate? How can you resonate with your client? But I've been lean. You haven't been lean though. You haven't been lean unless you've actually stepped on stage and actually got in shape. So if you've done that, I think, okay, cool. I think that's number one. One of the biggest things is you need to know how it feels as a coach to sort of diet. So I did 8 months last year of dieting, no plans, no off meals, nothing against sort of what I should have been doing. And again, I did pretty well for my first season, which is why I'm confident in my ability to coach. Actually, I've been doing it for a while. So, and when you love it, it's really not that hard. People think it's really tough to prep clients for shows. It's really not. It's actually really not. Like, what will make a good prep is just the client just doing the work. That's it. Like, that is it. It's really easy to get in shape. Do you know that? It's actually really fucking easy. And it's usually easy for me as well, because the people I take on for prep do everything I say anyway, and they don't have to worry about it because they just do it. So nail an off season first, number one. Number two, going into a prep, am I injured? Am I chasing sort of like body parts, trying to get my body parts back from an injury? So if that is the case, I really wouldn't jump into a dieting phase, because number one, you're not going to recover perfectly from an injury or like a few months of training because you've been injured. If you're in a deficit, you're just not. So before jumping into a prep, fix that and then do that. Okay, you don't want to be starting a prep, getting 3 months in, realizing you're fucked up, you can't train, and then quitting. It's just this is what you call a waste of time. So just fix everything in an off-season phase first, and then you can look at prepping. Okay, so injuries need to be nil going into a prep. I think, sure, you're going to get little niggles and issues, like, come on, like, that's just life, but no like really big problems that are actually affecting your training, because the last thing you want to do is not be able to train your legs or something, and then you're in a deficit and you can't train a muscle group. The area is going to fuck off real fast, I think. So yeah, make sure everything's nailed going into an off season. Okay, well, you can't really control that, but just if you are injured, just hold off the diet. That's my opinion on it. Have a plan. So have shows that are planned. Have planned shows. Now, do I think you need to always 100% stick to a plan or like a planned show? No, I don't. I think like get ready for like a specific month, and then if you get ready for July. So if you're in shape in July, and then you go into so you diet, you're in shape in July, you're more than likely going to be on the money, really. Like if you miss the first show in July because you need a bit, you need £5 off, just do a show at the end of July or mid-August. There's July, August are the months where sort of I think the best shows are to be done there, because if you qualify, when you qualify, hopefully you qualify for the finals by winning your class. If you don't, that's a shame, but that should always be the goal. So when you win your class and you qualify, you want to go into the finals. You don't want to have fucking 12, 16 weeks to hold a look or try and maintain it, all that kind of shit. It's not going to work. So I think 4 to 6 weeks is okay. What you can do is you can go into the qualifier, be it 95% of your absolute best, and still win the show because that's still really sharp. And then you can come into the finals and bring something even sharper, so you have something else to show the judges, right? So pick your show, make sure it's at appropriate time throughout the year, and a show that makes sense in regards to the time period. Because like I said, you don't want to be doing a show in June and then you've got to wait all the way to October for a final. To me, that's just really silly and dumb, and that's not going to end well. So make sure your shows are planned, okay? One month, at least like a bracket. So it doesn't have to be a specific show, but like a bracket. So I'm going to be ready in July, and once I'm ready, I can peak for a show, which there'll be maybe 3 from July to the mid-August, and you'll better do one of them, most likely. Number 4, probably one of the most important sort of things is make sure your calories are in a good place going into a prep. Now, if they're not, and you're starting a prep on 2,000 calories as a male, you're gonna struggle. Now, why, Jack? Why am I gonna struggle? You want to be able to have places to go with your calories. So if you start a prep with 2,000 calories and 7 sessions of cardio and 20,000 steps, where the fuck are you gonna go? Seriously, where are you gonna go? Like, where are you gonna go? 1,500 calories and cardio twice a day? Is that really realistic? No. You're going to just basically, you won't be able to complete it because you're just going to fuck off loads of muscle, and then you'll just stop dieting. So make sure that you're in a position where my calories aren't crazy low. They don't have to be like fucking 5,000-6,000, but just if you're a male at like 80 kilos, 85 kilos, at least 2.5, 2.6, 2.7. It just gives you ammunition to then play with for fat loss, right? And again, for cardio, I like to see. I would like to see pretty much no cardio, maybe one session, or maybe off day cardio just for fitness. But for cardio, for actual calorie burn, no cardio for that going into a prep. And again, steps, we want to see them at minimal. Like for example, today I've done, it's actually a bit higher than usual, 6,000, but that's because I went to Waitrose to buy some scones. Scones or scones, comment in the comment section below. I have no idea, but that's why that's why my steps are a bit higher. But you want to start a prep with minimal activity, food high, training good, no injuries. Now, if you can tick all those boxes, you're going to have a successful prep, I think. If you can't, you're going to be in a position where, is it really realistic to actually finish the prep and be in a position where you're going to be holding on to tissue? Probably not, because there's only so low you can drop calories until your body's going to just say fuck off, basically. So again, this needs to be strategically managed and planned. And again, this comes from consistency in the off-season. If you're not consistent in the off-season, you're not going to be in a position where all these variables are going to add up anyway. Does that make sense? So number five, probably the biggest thing that I wanted to just go over. So mindset. This is everything, every day with whatever you do. It doesn't need to be bodybuilding. It doesn't need to be off-season. It doesn't need to be anything like that. It's everything. If your mindset is not in it, no chance, literally no chance. You know how many people I've seen this year just quit prep because can't do it, haven't got the minerals upstairs to do it. And again, that's at no fault of their, or like, it's not, they don't need to be upset about that. It's just they're not psychologically mature enough to actually put themselves through it, because again, number one, the goal may not be that extravagant to them, and number two, they just haven't got the bottle to do it because it's hard. And I've seen so many people do that this year, and so many people stop. It's actually alarming as to how many people, like, as soon as something happens in people's lives, it automatically is like, okay, well, bodybuilding's the end of that. And it's like, well, number one, that shows that you don't really care that much about it. So it's probably a good thing that's happened, because it's actually showed you where your interests are. And number two, you know, it just goes to show how hard and how well someone can dial into a specific goal, even when things aren't at their best, you know. So if one thing happens, then immediately bodybuilding, that's it, I'm not doing it. Again, that just, to me, that speaks volumes for someone's ability to actually crack on with a given task, regardless of what goes on externally. Like, I absolutely appreciate everyone deals with different things differently. That's fair. That's fine. It's fair play. But if that is the case and something happens and then bodybuilding goes, I think it's just a cop-out, really, because like I said, everyone deals with things differently. That's fine. Most people who absolutely fucking love bodybuilding and are really passionate and really motivated and psychologically amped up for a specific goal, they'll just charge you anything, like it doesn't matter what it is, yeah? But if people who just don't really like it anyway, or people who are just forcing themselves to do it, they're usually the ones who drop off, and I see it a lot. And it's really frustrating as well, because what I've seen this year is a lot of people who actually have a lot of potential, and then just, quite frankly, in the harshest way possible, just haven't got the balls to do it. But I think that's something that can change in the future as one matures and gets a bit more kind of develops mentally a bit, and learns how to deal with things better. But if your mindset's not dialed in an off-season phase, I really wouldn't even bother considering it. If you don't love it, then don't even consider it. But those are my thoughts. I just wanted to make a quick video because it's just been on my mind today, just thinking about competition prep and, like coaching and just general and people and I've worked with, and just things I've seen and common traits that I've seen go wrong throughout preps. And I just wanted to do a video on it, really, just to give you my thoughts. And yeah, it's just one of those things that I've been thinking about today a lot, because obviously my prep's coming around next year, and I've got 10 people to step on stage. I've actually got 3 people, not this week and the weekend after. So I've got loads of people stepping on stage in the next few months, 10, 11, which again is amazing. I love it. I love it. Very stressful for me, particularly because I really care. I actually care. I actually give a shit. Unlike most people, don't care. They just don't care. They just think, oh well, competing today. It's not really how it works for me. I'm very invested. With my client Henry not getting the result that I wanted him to get, and looking at the pictures, I mean, I'm not even going to speak about it, to be honest with you, because I just think it's just bullshit. I don't agree with it, and that's my opinion. I'm entitled to that. I actually watched the feedback on the BNBF Facebook group. It was so all different judges had him second, third, so he came fourth. Okay. Makes sense. But yeah, like I said, I respect every judge who judges, but I'm allowed my opinion like they allowed theirs. Do you know what I mean? So I'm entitled to mine. Like last year, I thought, trying to think. I thought that I deserved second at the UK, the FBA. Didn't get it though. It's my opinion. Judges had different opinions, so it's subjective, isn't it? I'm entitled to mine, they're entitled to theirs. But going back to the point is I really care. I invest a lot. So most people would be like, oh, he stepped on stage, great. Yeah, cool, good. So you look great and you did step on the stage, but it really affected me actually for the whole night and the whole day, the next day. It gets to me because when I see people who work really hard don't get what they deserve, and I think they should. But it is what it is, and we move forward in a positive manner, and we put things in place for us to make sure that we come back better. So I've done this year. I'm coming back to 2020 after having 18 months off, doing stuff in the gym that for me is very strong. You know what's going to happen. You know how I'm going to look. I've been doing it. I've been ticking the boxes. I've got chubby. Look at my face. I've eaten a load of food, and I've slept, and you know, I've trained really fucking hard in the gym. Like, I've trained harder than I've ever trained in my life because I've just been crazy obsessed with a goal. And again, comes back to the whole point of the video, which is, are you in it in an off-season phase? I've ticked every box. So I come back next year with the goal of, to be honest with you, winning shows, man. Like, winning shows, and I believe that'll happen. Because I worked really hard for it. So yeah, that's the video. I just wanted to make it, get it up, let you guys watch it. Any questions on it, let me know. Comment in the comment section below. Message me on Instagram if you have any questions. If you are interested in competition prep coaching next year, I already have 13 people competing. So I may take it up to 15, and that will be it. Why? Because I'm competing, and I'm not competing this year, obviously. So I could have done a bit more this year, which I have done a lot. 6 people on stage already. So yeah, this year will be 15 plus. Now, 13, 14 next year will be okay. Any more than that, I won't take on. Again, because I'm competing, and that requires a lot of attention, and that's important. I want to win shows next year. I do not want seconds. like I don't, like, that haunts me genuinely. Like, it gives me goosebumps, because if I get called second, I'm gonna be like, that's just not, like, I don't know, like, it just can't happen. So I need to make sure that, you know, my prep is 100% attention to detail, because there's no way on earth I can get called second next year. That would break me, fucking kill me. With how hard I've worked this offseason, I just can't allow it. So I'll just make sure it doesn't happen, you know, by coming in undeniably good, undeniably shredded. They can't look away. So I was talking to my friend Jack about on Instagram, Jack Kinsey Cloth. He's a fucking amazing bodybuilder, and we were just speaking about it, about results and stuff. And he was like, just come in undeniably peeled, and you can't close the door on that. You can't you know, turn someone away if they come in that good. It's true, I agree. So that's the goal. Yeah, anyway, awesome. If you are interested, like I said, in regards to competition prep coaching, I'll leave an application below, so fill it out. Give me information in it, lots of it. If you're interested in just general lifestyle coaching, muscle gain, fat loss, you know, photo shoot prep potentials, or just, you know, strength, just an off-season phase, you know, something as simple as an off-season phase, let me know. Fill out the application. I'm basically full, but if you give me a load of information, and you give me buckets of information, and I look at the application, I'm like, wow, this is really cool, and I'm impressed by the application, then I'll work with you. If you give me a one-word thing, or like a couple of lines, I'm not even going to reply. So give me as much information as you can, okay? Awesome, cool. Any questions, comment below, or DM me on Instagram, and yeah, cool, awesome. We'll speak soon, guys.